I have risen from the dead to speak again and exchange my place with CDS. Hello and welcome to Splat Talk. A few weeks ago, Nintendo has announced the return of another Splatfest, which pitted the chicken against the egg to see which one came first, this time for August 21st of 2020. Along the way, they have announced the patch version 5.3.0, which by the way has been released on August 19th, and of which we already have the notes. There is not many changes to be spotted in the patch notes though, but these changes are still pretty interesting to talk about. Starting off with the splash shots, as they reduced the amount of time it takes for shot spread to return to normal. The shot spread is an internal value that makes it more or less likely for shooter weapons to fire at the center of the reticle rather than the sights. In short, makes the weapon more or less accurate despite still having the same RNG. But when you continuously fire, this value increases, making it more likely for the weapon to shoot on the sights. It will take some time for the shot spread variance to return back to normal, but with this patch they reduced this amount of time. The Gal 52s also benefit from this buff, but with something else as well. It seems like in addition it will take more time for the Gal 52's shot spread variance to get worse over time, something that could help this weapon become more accurate over time. And now the main victims of the nerfs. For the Bamboozlers it's pretty straightforward with a 20% ink consumption increase. For the Dualie Squelchers, they increased the ink consumption of the dodge rolls from 5% to 8%, and the bullet's hit detection has been reduced while shooting the Dualies normally. One could think that the hit detection between players and shots after rolling don't change compared to the hit detection between players and normal shots in this patch, but I'm actually tempted to think that it's the hit detection between players and roll shots that don't change compared to last patch. So unlike normal shots, the dodge roll shots aren't affected by this nerf, only the normal shots. And at last, for the Splat Brellas, they reduced the damage of each pellet from 18 to 16.2. And in turn, the maximum damage dealt from one shot has been reduced from 19 to 81. And the Splat Brella special charge goes from 180 points to 200 points. Wait, that's it? Well, yes, that's it for this patch. There wasn't too much done, but it was done on some of the most prominent weapons in today's meta. Back in the previous stream, Madzin, who you can follow on YouTube and Twitch as well, has told me that the Japanese community was memeing these weapons real hard. You could see images of crabs or lobsters holding on to these weapons everywhere among the Japanese community. I feel like with this context in mind, the developers have nerfed these weapons to make them more manageable by other players facing them. The thing is, they are doing it wrong in my opinion. There's no change to the effects of main perp on these weapons, not even on the quantification. That means that we are still able to reach 33.3, 49.9 or 99.9 of damage per shot, depending on the weapon that's conserved by the damage increase to such level. Maybe they're trying to make us more mindful about the gear abilities we use by making these nerfs, along with our ink tank, but there's still gonna be people that are gonna keep on running this MPU strategy so long as it exists. Trust me, they are not going away anytime soon, especially if there are people willing to work around these nerfs, all for that sweet kill potential, with fewer shots. If I were among the developers, this is what I would do. I would adjust the damage curve of the weapons concerned by the damage increase with main perp. I would cap the damage increase of Dualie Squelchers to 32 instead of 33.3. Maybe somewhere lower even, but this should be good enough to make people think twice using main perp. Probably same for L3. Bamboozler's cap will be 95 maximum, maybe lower. Just no more actual one shot with 99.9. For Splat Shot Pro and maybe H3 as well, I could either cap the damage increase to 48 or 47, maybe a bit lower, or I could adjust the damage curve to make it look similar to Squeezer, start at 38 per shot and get up to 49.4 with maximum main perp. The choice is yours. At last, for Splat Brella, I wouldn't really decrease its damage output but rather increase the damage dealt to the Brella shield with other weapons, or weaken the shield just a bit, or increase the effect of Object Shredder to the Brella shield. That thing is still a bit too sturdy to be dealt with, and it would give everyone else an easier time to deal with Splat Brella, knowing we can shred its shield a bit faster. Now this is how I would deal with those weapons if I had to readjust them. I hear people saying that armor has been left untouched by this patch, but I don't see much how we can readjust this special. Double armor, it's a thing. We could have thought about that last year, but we didn't, until we saw two French players running double Nest Zapper from 1985. I see no real way to nerf armor to answer the problem with running double armor in a team. Ink armor is already good enough as it is, and I feel like it's gonna become useless entirely if we try to nerf this special altogether. It is something we need to figure out on our own in order to overcome the double armor meta. Besides that, I've already noticed more and more players using the Nautilus instead. Chances are there will be other weapons that will take over those that have been nerfed. After all, the AL3 nozzle nose is still going strong in the Japanese scene, for instance. But one thing that needs to be pointed out is that just because something is powerful doesn't always mean you have to ask for a nerf every time. You can't keep asking to nerf something if it still causes trouble, but you can try asking how to nerf something if you have something to propose for a nerf. Or a buff, same thing. Bottom line for me who mains K-Shot is that this small buff for Splash Shot is still welcoming, even if it's something minor. But Splat Brella is still troublesome to some degree, and I still have some issue with the canopy of the Splat Brella being still a bit tough, even with Object Shredder. At least on my own. But even with a lowered damage output, I can still feel that Splat Brella can still kill in 2 shots if you can mess up with the enemy and aim properly. It leaves less room for error, and hopefully we'll see the Splat Bomb Launcher a little less on the field with Sword Brella. Even though I think this meta won't disappear yet. I feel like I should pick up again the Kensei Gal 52 to see if this accuracy buff will benefit this weapon more. And because it can make for a nice alternative for K-Pro in my opinion. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening to my thoughts on this patch, and sorry if I didn't release this video when the patch notes were up because, you know, stuff happens in life and sometimes prevents me from making videos. But hopefully I'm back on track. I still stream on Twitch and have revised my stream schedule for Tuesday, Thursday, Friday and Sunday 8 PM Central European Summer Time, or not summer time, same thing. 2 PM Eastern Time and 11 AM Pacific Time for those that live on the other side of the Atlantic. So go check it out, link in the description, and don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell and follow me on Twitter as well. This was Stardust and I shall see you next time. Bye!